There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds.
Hey there, movie nerds. Abby here, coming to you live from my home in beautiful Pittsburgh, Kansas. We're going to do kind of a different sort of situation over the summer between me and Elliot, since we're going to be in different places doing lots of different things, and we probably won't be able to get together too much to do reviews of movies together. So what we're going to do is this. For major movie releases, we will do one review separately each of the movie, kind of corresponding or disagreeing as the case may be. And for smaller movies, we are going to do individual reviews as we see them. So for movies like Drag Me to Hell that I want to see but that Elliot may not get time to or isn't that interested in watching, I will do a review and he will not. Right now, we are going to kick things off with a co-review of Star Trek. Sorry it's so belated, but things have been a little bit busy, and Elliot didn't get to see the movie until just last night. So better late than never, I always say. Here we go. Of course, the new Star Trek, directed by J.J. Abrams, who gave us series like Lost, and other series as well, like Alias and Fringe. Of course, again, a different kind of look at the beginning of the characters of Star Trek. Lots of young, good-looking people in this cast. And it's sort of a different take on the series as a whole. Hardcore Trekkies are probably going to recognize a lot more insider fan stuff than I did. I am not a hardcore Trekkie. I've never really been much of one. I just kind of have the basic grasp of the pop culture phenomenon that is Star Trek. I know what Klingons are. I know what Vulcans are. That's about the extent of my knowledge. But I thought this movie was pretty accessible to fans and somewhat newcomers like myself alike. And it was just generally really enjoyable. It wasn't bogged down in insider fandom type stuff. It was very straightforward, a fun adventure movie. It could have taken place completely outside of the Star Trek realm and it probably would have been just as good. But the fact that it did and contains some recognizable characters and actors doing really great interpretations of classic characters, I think gives this movie an extra oomph that I really appreciated, and it was really, really, really fun to watch. The thing that I think really gives this movie an edge over what might have happened had somebody else been at the helm of this movie. J.J. Abrams, famously not really a big fan of Star Trek, but gave this his all and did a fantastic job, is that it has a real sense of humor. The movie takes the storyline and the characters, the plot, everything fairly seriously, at least in the context of it being, you know, a Star Trek movie. These characters are in this situation and they are going to do these specific things, and so it doesn't really play it up for camp value. It's just a really good story. But there are really great instances of humor, especially at the beginning, that I think give the movie a nice, lighthearted feel that that I really appreciated, because it wasn't completely serious or dark or anything. It was fun. It was a lighthearted, exciting romp in space, and I love movies like that. Now, performances. This is really fun because I think it contains a lot of up-and-comers, this cast, as well as people who you'll recognize and think are really cool, such as John Cho from Harold and Kumar as Sulu, which I thought was brilliant casting, by the way. Yeah, a lot of interesting kind of up-and-coming actors. Chris Pine, for one, who hasn't really been in a whole heck of a lot, except for, I think, a couple of sort of low-ranking romantic comedies. But man, what a find! He was fantastic as James T. Kirk. He had just the right amount of charisma and charm and seriousness that kind of, it was a good portrayal of Kirk as kind of this arrogant, captain-y kind of guy that you see in William Shatner, but not a caricature at all. It was very respectfully done and very interesting, and I thought he was just absolutely fun to watch. Then, of course, we have Zachary Quinto as Spock, who a lot of people will recognize from Heroes. He's playing a very different character here, guys. You're not going to look at him and think, oh no, Siler in space. No, not at all. And he does a really great interpretation of the role that, of course, Leonard Nimoy famously created, and well, I'm not going to go into too many spoilers, but fans will be excited to see different versions of Spock in this film. I thought that he was Also, again, very interesting to watch, very fun. He had a great range of emotion. I think Spock can be kind of a complex character, as we see from sort of the beginning of the film. He's raised in a culture that values subdued emotions and not really showing much emotion, which he has problems with because, of course, he's half human. And we see that in a couple of instances in which he tries very hard to repress his emotions, but he can't, and they come out. And it's sort of a shocking moment, but also a very telling moment about the character, and I think he played those very, very well. And of course, we can't forget Carl Urban, who did a fantastic job as Leonard Boone McCoy, the ship's doctor. He was my favorite of the cast. I saw the movie for a second time on Friday, so a few days ago, and I thought the same thing. He's wild-eyed and funny and sarcastic and great, and, well, let's be honest, pretty darn good looking too. So I did not mind that one bit. He was fantastic and far and away my favorite member of the cast. And last but not least, we have a nice, surprising performance from Zoe Saldana as Uhura in, well, hey, a pretty great amped up role, considering that in the original series, from what I understand, she was kind of a glorified secretary, but here she is a linguistic whiz, which I thought was super cool and very smart and powerful, and a great female character, a strong female character, which I really appreciated. And I hadn't really seen much work that showed me that she was an actress to really pay attention to, but here I think she did an admirable job with her character. She was very interesting. She was smart and clever and did a great job acting. So considering that the only things I'd seen her in before were like dance movies, and I think that Ashton Kutcher update of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, I mean, she kind of blew all of my expectations away, which, good on her for doing that. Now, a word about the plot. I think that the way Abrams approaches certain subjects like time travel, which I guess might be kind of a spoiler, but I mean, I've seen it in reviews, and let's face it, most of you have probably seen the movie by now, so it's probably no great surprise. I think that it was a great way to reinvigorate the franchise and kind of give it a new start by creating the idea of a alternate future or alternate past, and kind of switching things up there a little bit and leaving room for maybe new plots possibly in the future. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this in the future, because I think there's great potential here, but it can also be kind of hard to follow. I suggest going to see the movie twice, not only because it's awesome, but because watching it a second time might give you a better idea of what's going on and why, considering the kind of complicated plot setup. And I think the second time you watch it, it makes more sense and is really kind of even more ingenious. Now, of course, given the fact that I've just gushed about how great this movie is and that it's really, as far as summer blockbusters are concerned, this year's Iron Man, there are a few problems with it, of course. I think there are a few instances in which there is maybe a little bit too much broad comedy. They're small and fleeting, but they didn't really need to be there. And, well, there's a certain cameo towards the end that I think is kind of interesting, but the first time I saw the movie, I didn't really think it was necessary. I thought it kind of was a little bit of fan pandering that I think even the fans might have, you know, after the initial excitement, kind of wondered why that needed to be there. And if you've seen the film, you probably know what I'm talking about. But on the whole, I think it was a very well executed movie, definitely worth seeing, obviously more than once, and just great to see in the theater, and something that I think people will probably enjoy for a long time to come. Well, guys, that's my review of Star Trek. Now we just have to wait for Elliot to post his views, although from what I understand, they're kind of from a similar standpoint. Stay tuned to our channel in the weeks and months to come for reviews from both of us. Like I said before, some weeks we will be doing 2 reviews on the same movie. Other weeks we will be doing individual reviews of smaller movies that we've seen and liked or disliked. And I guess that's it. So for the 2 awesome movie nerds, I'm Abby. Go forth and watch.